Ooh, what's happening, man? This is just to. Sorry, my kid's napping, so I'm trying to be quiet. Um, this is a mental note. Again, I'm always going to let you know why, because it seems strange that I do this, but I'm putting this here to hold myself accountable so that I talk about this most likely tonight. I'm watching this Russell Brand video where he is giving commentary on some stuff that Alex Jones said on Tucker Carlson show. And it's things that I have talked about before. And I said, I'm not just saying these things. There's documentation. There's, official documents and disclosures from the government, from, MIT, from secret, committees that are formed, intergovernmental, government working with private institutions like universities and things like that, like MIT. And so he just said some stuff. I'm only 5 minutes and 43 seconds into this 17-minute video, and it gave me an idea to talk about. And this is something that I've talked about before, but I just had some ideas on applications of the thing that he's talking about. And specifically, this is for me to help me remember to go further into. Specifically, Alex Jones is like, and keep in mind this dude's record. Alex Jones has been right about a lot of stuff. Love him or hate him, disagree or agree, he has been right many, 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 many times. Whether he's controlled opposition or not, whether he is, a strange person or not, he has been correct, meaning that things have happened. So remove that part from it and just look at the results. He's like reading a report at the time of this interview, similar to reports that I've read, and videos that I've seen. He's talking about videos that are more specific to meetings that are discussing this, but I detailed before, I've seen videos of the news doing reports on smart dust, of you know you know more obscure but at the forefront minds in science talking about their research into smart dust, the applications that they can use into smart dust, aka nanobots. And these things sound like science fiction, but that's by design. That's it's done that way so that before whatever is intended is actually implemented, and by that I mean fully implemented, because it's already initiated. Those groups don't want anyone to take it seriously. They want you to ostracize and discredit those that are actually taking the time to go and read these things and listen to these things and watch these things, rather than actually checking our work or checking our assertions and our reports on these things. They want you to instantly decide that we are making it up, or we're nuts, or we are just saying whatever for money. For one, I don't make any money off this, and the people that do have worked very hard to get to the places that they're at, many of them. And they get in trouble, quote unquote, in trouble for a lot of the things that they say. They have to get private security and all kinds of stuff. They have to go through public shame and suing and all kinds of stuff to say the things that they say. And I look up to them. That's a real display of leaving fear behind, a lack of fear. So essentially, he's talking about watching these meetings where they're talking about, their leaps and bounds into mind control, both suggestive and physical, like with technology. They're talking about, bringing about situations where they're able to very easily bring in social credit score, taking away people's ability to own, I'll say a house, because even if you own a house, you don't really own your land. You don't have an alloidial title. You have, something that they can seize, essentially, in specific times because of certain legislation. Argue with me if you want, but that is true. Even the first couple feet of your yard are not yours. That's why they can dig it up and put fiber optic cables or phone lines or gas lines in there and not even tell you about it. They don't have to give you a warning or heads up or anything because they own that outright. It's not even about the kind of title. And then when you get closer to your residence, also not really your land. Unless you have an alloidal title. I keep forgetting how to say that, but an alloidal title, alloidal, whatever, you do not own your land outright. And so it can be taken or seized from you without reason. The only being that I am aware of that has alloidal titles is the recently deceased queen. So that, I'm sure, has transferred to her husband, or whoever, the throne, let's call it that, the throne. Because this is more or less, they say it's an experiment to annex the throne, aka the United Kingdom, here. I've talked about that. There's a show that basically kind of outlines how they did it. It's called Taboo. It was on Netflix, or not Netflix, it was on FX. Very good show. Slow burn, but once you get to the end, you'll freak out. I did. Anyway, so they're talking about these things that they're implementing. They're already done, meaning R&D, tested and implemented, not completed, but implemented, meaning they've been put into play. So what they're saying in these meetings is smart dust put into play. Think about the clouds. Think about the videos of clouds descending to the ground and people just walking up and touching them. The weird stuff in rainwater and snow that people have been seeing. People being able to light snow on fire. Weird stuff that resembles pollen on people's cars, but it's magnetic. It's magnetic. These are all, in my opinion, examples of very likely smart dust or some kind of chemical compounds that are meant to magnetize you or make you more susceptible to ELF and LF and microwaves. Harpsichord, Omni Weapon. There's like 3 videos on my channel talking about that as well. So essentially, he's talking about these things, and then he gets to smart dust. And as he's talking about it, I don't know if he said something that made me think this, or if I just kind of like quick brain stuff happening, and it made me think this. But I think that's what happened. So smart dust, it means one thing, but people ascribe it to a couple different things. One of them is called Morgellons. Harold Vella, really, really good work. He's a chemist who has done lots of research and published lots of studies and lectures and whatnot on the phenomena and his findings and what they've been doing to research and look into that situation, because it's, weird. But he talks about how these are essentially nanoparticles that can get into a biological entity, an animal or a person, a plant, a rock, and it can self-replicate. So it can multiply itself without any need for anything. It can form what he calls insect fruiting bodies, which means essentially it can come together to make what visibly presents as an insect, a tiny insect. I have seen this myself. I still have photos of, um, you know, an insect fruiting body from my own microscope, as well as the blue and red, like thread-like stuff that, you know, um, essentially makes the two visual, like, light spectrums that they do, because they like light up and shit, and move on their own and all kinds of stuff. So this is practical stuff that you can see if you want to see it, if it's something that you want to see. So essentially, if those things can come together to create fruiting bodies, then you can simulate life. And so I'm going to talk about that.